Hey, this for legacy. I play the game, I don't let the game play me. I'ma need my shirt back. Hey, that's the legacy.
Chapter 11, the cost of doing business. All right, so this chapter is telling you a little bit about what you should expect whenever you do get that status on campus, whenever you transfer, whenever you get on campus. I tried to talk a little bit about how people's ideas of you will change. Like, they know that you are destined for something, or you have the possibility of becoming a star that could probably stand to make a lot of money. So sometimes when money is involved, or the potential of money is involved, people start acting real friendly, or they start doing a lot of things where they try to do things for you to get in your good graces. I also talked about the responsibility you have as the student athlete, having this power and having this effect on people. You have a responsibility to not take advantage of people, because it'll be real easy to do it. I ain't gonna lie, like, it's very easy to be like, let me drive your car, or you gonna buy me this? Like, it's easy to do that when you're a student athlete, because people want to be you, or people want to be in your presence. But as a student athlete and a child of God and a representative of the kingdom, that is not how we operate, right? You have to be mindful of all the gifts that God has given you. This is a gift from God. This is not you. This is God, right? And if he gave you this gift, it's a reason why he gave you this gift. And as I told you earlier, every gift is attached to a purpose. And you kind of forfeit the purpose when you start using your gifts for personal gain. And throughout this chapter, I really talk about the responsibilities of being a child of God, of being a part of the kingdom, of being a student athlete that's knowledgeable and knows what's going on. People will take advantage of you if you let them. So you have to set boundaries and know what the heck is going on, and like catch them red flags. You have the opportunity to take advantage of people, because people are open and willing to do anything for you just to be associated with you. But just because they're offering all these things does not mean that you need to take it, does not mean that you should take the bait, because taking that will eventually take from you at some point. So I want y'all to be mindful of this stuff, because it's a game. I mean, it's not a game anymore. It's a business. People operate in business mode, real talk. Like, they want to know what they can get out of it. And they will do whatever they got to do to invest in you so that they can get that payoff later. So you need to be mindful of that and understand that this is not a game. It is not. I also talked about the importance of preparing yourself for life after college. Now, there are so many things that you have to preparing yourself for life after college. So I know a lot of people want to go to the league. I know all of y'all want to play sports at a higher level and make that big check and all of that. But the reality of it is, some of you will not make it to that point, which is okay, because that may not be the journey that God wants you to go on. You still strive for your goal, and God is going to unfold it as you go. But while you're there, while you're on campus, while you're in this atmosphere, you might as well add more value to yourself by taking school seriously, taking advantage of your opportunities, and like taking advantage of your resources. School, to me, is not something that's difficult. It's like, when you're in the right state of mind, you're able to adjust to the atmosphere. But if you're already defensive when it comes to school, it's gonna be hard for you to open up and adjust. So I just wanted to tell you, I gave you a few steps that you can do to get more acclimated to campus. I also talked about utilizing your resources when it comes to your teammates and your classmates, like building a study group, having a support group, working together. Like, you're stronger together. Like, y'all are so much stronger together. So taking the time to really dive into your schoolwork with people who already been through it, ask for help. We all need the help at some point. So that's something we talk about in this chapter. I also talk about body maintenance and getting your rest, and the importance of getting second opinions when it comes to like medical diagnosis and getting prescribed different medicines and stuff. You want to always get a second opinion when it comes to that, just to make sure you are doing the best thing for your body and for your future self. You have to be mindful of the fact that a lot of these people work for this institution, doctors included. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body and making sure that you're doing the best thing that you can do that's gonna like benefit your future self. And one of the biggest keys we talked about in this whole chapter is money management. I personally believe that all of you will make a lot of money at some point. You all will make a lot of money at some point, whether it be in sports or whether it be in commentary, whatever field you go into. I feel like you'll be very successful at some point in your life. And regardless of what's going on, you're going to need to know how to manage your money. Even if you're making $30,000 or if you're making $3 million, you got to be able to manage your money. So I feel like I felt like I needed some help when it came to this. So I invited my best friend, Valerie Duro, to talk to you about this part of the journey. I'm good with my money, but she's better with hers. And I truly believe that she has the skills and to give you a good baseline of where to start when it comes to money management and restoring or establishing your relationship with money. So I invited her on to talk about her part and talk about how money management is a really big deal. So y'all, here she is. I'm gonna let her tell y'all about that real quick and we will come right back. Valerie, you're right in the book about her experience when it comes to finances, because I feel like she's the friend that can teach me all about that and help us to stay on track when it comes to that. So tell them a little bit about what you wrote in the book, why you felt that it was important to write about it, and all that good stuff.
Okay, so my portion of the book that she asked me to write, and like
you said it like that though,
because like you said, you was like, the Lord told me that you was supposed to be writing something. The Lord didn't tell me that, so I was like, say what here?
I showed you the proof though. Did I not?
Okay, she did show me the proof. She wrote it down a long time ago.
I did. I be waiting.
Waited for the moment, and she
I be
dropped
waiting.
the mic up.
And I be like, God, you want me to tell her that? Man, she don't want me to tell her that. I gotta wait till the right moment to tell her. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So she asked me to write in there about really my own personal financial journey a little bit, and she knows how important it is for me to really have financial freedom. So that's why she wore a shirt. But it's something that I had been working on for probably around 2, maybe 3 years, a little over 2, 3. Because the more, I've always been a person that budgets. And what I feel like is now in hindsight, looking back, the Lord is preparing me for that area. I feel like I'm kind of gifted in that area in a sense.
She is gifted in that area. Don't you just tell me I'm not shortchanging you. You're not shortchanging yourself. Go ahead. I'm
coming to terms with it. Trina does help me with that because I'm just like, I haven't had any formal education in this, but Trina's like, you don't need formal education. You're actually living this out. So I'm like, okay, I'm gaining confidence in this area.
Good, she'll be just fine. It's shown and proved. I mean, she proved it by her lifestyle, so it's good.
Yeah. So a little bit about my lifestyle. By the time, to make a long story short, by the time I graduated college with both of my degrees, I had roughly, if I had to guess, I had roughly $40,000 in debt. And I was like, all right, all I knew was, hey, start paying my loans back. Once I got my job, got situated, make the minimum payments, you'll be fine. But after I...
Please throw that up for me, please.
Okay.
Ooh, that's annoying me. I'm so sorry.
You okay?
Yeah.
So, after I got my first job out of graduate school, I was like, all right, I'm in my career now. I need to start paying this. And maybe about a year into the career, I really sat down and I was like, all right, let's really take a look at these loans that I'm paying back. And I'm like, man, I'm not even really putting a dent into them. So I'm like, something has to give because I don't expect to be in my late 30s, early 40s, still paying on student loans. And some of the people that I worked with, I'm like, yeah, they're in their 40s still paying on student loans. And I'm like, oh no, that's not going to... No, that can't be me. I got to figure this thing out. Yes. have to figure this thing out. So I kind of prayed on it because I was like, I don't feel like I'm making enough to really be able to knock this out. But I'm like, okay, Lord, where there's a will, there's a way. So just show me how to do this because I do want this gone. So I feel like the Lord kind of placed it on my heart one day at work, like very strong. That I had downtime at work. And he was like, he kind of did. So he usually talks to me like pretty softly and kind of nudges me. But no, I feel like that day he kind of yelled at me. And I was like, hold on, Lord, what? And he said, you can have your loans paid off by the time you're 33. So at the time, I think I was 31, somewhere around there. And I'm like, what? And I was like, okay. So I really sat on it for maybe a week. And then the thought just wouldn't leave my mind. It just kept popping back up in my mind. I'm like, okay, if it's still here, let me actually sit down and think through this. Long story short, I did. And I started implementing what is commonly known as the snowball method. I laid out all my loans, looked at all the interest rates on them, put them in priority based on what the interest rate was, and I said, I'm simply going to tackle them one at a time. Figured out what my budget was, how much extra I could actually put towards my loans. And then once I did all of that, I was able to actually put tangible dates with them. I can have this loan paid off by this day, this loan paid off by this time frame, according to my plan. Of course, life happens. You have to pivot. You can't really plan for those, but you just plan what you can, accept what you can, or change what you can, accept what you can. That's all you can do. So that's when I had a plan. I told you I'm the girl that if I can see the path in the forest, then I'm with it. So by that time, my mind was made up. I can clearly see the path. This is how we're gonna attack it. So we started attacking it. Then, during that time, I purchased a new car. I wasn't thinking about the car. So at that time, my financial freedom was only in the scope of my student loan. No, the Lord pulled me aside. He didn't want it. Come here. And he was like, you gonna pay this car off too? Huh? What you mean I'm finna pay this car off? I just bought this car. You're gonna be financially free from all the debt that you currently have right now at the moment. I'm like, Lord, I'm trying to get to the celebration, the finish line. You prolonging my journey. No, I'm helping your journey. So I said, all right, we're going to go ahead and add the car note on up in there, so we can go ahead and pay this out too. Long story short, I started making progress. Once I probably knocked out the first 2 loans, I was like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. And I was like, oh, I can do this for real, for real, for real. This is working.
As the kids say, for real, for real.
For real, for real. This is working. And then the money that I was now saving because I was knocking out loans at a time, instead of spending the extra money, I was just putting it toward the budget I had already created. So then I started knocking them out faster because I had more money to put towards them. My last loan by itself, I think, was about $16,000. And I was like, all right, this is like that's the biggest one I had. I say the biggest for last. It had the least amount of interest because it was so large. So I said, okay, Lord, I know this is gonna take some time. I did the math, did my little budget. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it my 33rd birthday. It's tight. It's very tight. And one little mishap, I say little, but one mishap could derail everything because I may have to spend my money on something else that's life. But I said, all I can do is try. Pray and try. I feel like this is what you told me to do, so this is what I'm going to do. Speed up. It's a week before my 33rd birthday. And I'm like, loan still ain't paid off. Not yet. And I'm like, we tight. I don't know exactly if I will make it. So, week before my 33rd birthday, I was doing my monthly budget because I do my budget every month. And so that was just normal. Doing my monthly budget. My check hit. I'm like, okay. Calculate everything. And then as I'm calculating everything, I had to do another thing. I'm like, well, hold on, wait. Hold on, let me, you know how Madea was in the movie? And she was doing her numbers. I'm like, hold on, I think I see something. And sure enough, that was a week before my 33rd birthday. I realized that I officially had enough money in my bank account to pay everything off.
Look at God.
So technically, I was debt free at that moment. I had to run the numbers about good 3-4 times. I was like, I'm forgetting a bill or something. Like, I hated that as a culture, we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just because of how we were raised. We were raised.
That's what happens a
to
lot
make
of times.
a little, to stretch a little and make it a lot. So I'm like searching for something that I missed, knowing that I've done this for so long and you ain't missing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just nature to be like, no, this can't have actually worked out the way I planned. Like the way the Lord showed me, but the way I planned it out too. Like,
that's the key.
what? But it did. So once it happened, of course, she the first person. Trina.
I was like,
Let me tell you. Because she's heard me plan this out and talk about it for the past 2 years. She heard me talk about it and work towards it. She was in the trenches with me.
it's all right.
But she was talking about your support system. She always supported me too.
I watched her not get cheese on burgers and everything. Like, everything. No, y'all laugh. Y'all laugh. It's real out here.
Yeah,
like,
it's sacrifice.
What do you want to sacrifice? Do you want this cheese?
Extra guac.
Extra guac? We know it's extra. We know it's extra. So, no, but seriously though.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, Lord. And that's when it really hit me. And I really did have a moment. And I was like, okay, God. There's a lot of things I have trusted him with. And he has shown me who he is throughout the years. I have stories about different stuff.
Stories
We
upon
might-
stories, bro.
Yeah, we might get to some of these, but we'll see. But this one, when it came to finances, and coming from the background that I come from, like I said, I come from work. I'm from Eastwood. You know anything about Eastwood? That's the hood. I come
Eastwood.
from a lack thereof.
Yeah.
So to see that I could pay off that large amount of money by myself, I mean, no parents, no significant other, like just
By
me,
herself.
my own check.
Well, by herself, God and her.
There you go. But to see that he can empower you to do that by yourself, I mean, that was a big deal for me. And that's when I was like, okay, Lord, this financial freedom. And it hits different when your checks coming after that. You like, bruh, all I'm paying is my monthly bills that you can't pay off, but like the majority of my check is mine.
I can't wait.
They hit different, y'all. And that's a feeling that I feel like everybody should be able to experience in life because them checks hit different.
They
bruh.
do.
It's nice.
You can stay in the account. You ain't got to worry about nothing coming out. It's like just in there.
Bruh.
I see the zeros, but it's a number in front of the zero.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, so proud of my friend. I'm so proud of her. Now y'all understand why I had to have her write in the book. I'm not financially free yet. Keyword.
Yes.
But she is. And I was like, someone needs to speak about this that has actually done it. I could talk about it all day, but this is her life, and that's how she has lived her life. Even when we were in middle school, she knew about numbers in middle school. So, you know, you gotta be willing to tell your friends the truth.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
And I will say too that I have to give that credit to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad has, by the time I was maybe a preteen, maybe 12 or so, he like sat me down, and you know how sometimes in black families they don't really want to talk about like the numbers. We're struggling, we can't give you everything we want. But my dad, he literally used to make me sit down at the table. This was before internet was in the house and everything, and I would literally, he would lay the bills down and lay down his checkbook, and he would make me balance his account.
Yeah.
So I really do have to accredit that to my dad, because from that age, I always knew how to balance money, how to make a budget, how to pay bills. So I always knew how to think about money from that sense.